If you live alone and you find it tough to cook for one, then this video is for you. I'm about to show you how you can reduce your food waste while meal prepping for one without having to eat the same thing every single day. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Taylor from The Girl on Bloor. I'm all about sharing easy meal prep strategies so that you can save time, money, and stress. I've been meal planning and cooking for myself ever since I moved out of my parents' place when I was 18. It was really challenging at first because I was used to my mom cooking us a different homemade meal every single night of the week. Yes, I'm aware of how lucky I was, and so I wanted that same variety, but just didn't have the same grocery budget as a poor student. Now that I'm older and I'm more established financially, I still hate wasting food, so it's important to me that I'm not cooking more than I'll be able to eat in any given week. After several years of practice, I finally developed an easy way to meal plan for a variety of meals while cutting down on the groceries that I need to buy. Today, I'm excited to show you how to meal prep and then cook 4 easy, healthy recipes with overlapping ingredients so that you can reduce food waste and save on your grocery bill as a single person. I've got an easy prep ahead checklist along with the recipes and grocery list for today's menu, so be sure to head to my description to get that if you want to follow along and replicate this weekly meal prep plan for yourself. Now for our menu today, I'm going to be meal prepping stuffed portobello mushrooms, Kalbi beef tacos, pasta primavera, and Potsticker bowls. I know this sounds like a lot of food, but doesn't it also sound like a bomb-ass menu? Trust me, there's a secret. You're going to cut all of these recipes in half and then only buy half of the ingredients. Now this can pose a bit of a problem if a recipe calls for a full bag of coleslaw and then you're only going to use half of it by the time you cut the recipe in half. But there are always workarounds, the primary one being that you can find 2 recipes that each use a bag, and then you're cutting the amount in half and not having half a bag kicking around your fridge afterwards. That's what I've done with the Potsticker bowls and the Kalbi beef tacos. I know that this takes a little bit of mental gymnastics, but it will get easier with practice. You don't always have to be perfect with this either. For instance, if you have an extra half bell pepper kicking around after cutting a recipe in half, you can use the other half as a snack with some hummus later on in the week. Or if you have half a pound of ground turkey left over, you can freeze it for another time and use it in another recipe you cut in half. This is the way that I have been cooking for years, and it's such a game changer. Now let's cover the actual meal prep aspect of it. What I love to do instead of taking a whole Sunday to cook a bunch of meals is to just prep my ingredients only, which takes about an hour, hour and a half each week. Then I cook my dinners fresh each night. Most recipes make 2 servings, so by the time you cut them in half, I get a dinner serving, and then I get another serving for the next day for lunch, and it's rinse and repeat the whole week. Depending on the plans that I have during the week, I only prep about 3 to 5 meals so that I have some wiggle room for nights out with friends, or I have the chance to make a quick meal indulging in a craving like breakfast for dinner or eating out of the freezer. So even though I'm showing you this menu, I do often have other staples in the fridge like eggs or quick meals such as chicken wontons in the freezer, so I have a little bit of flexibility in my meal plans. Okay, with all of that info covered, let's dive right into this prep and make this meal plan for one come to life. And don't forget, I've got a prep ahead checklist and grocery list for this meal plan that you can download to follow along with this video, so be sure to head to the link in the description to check that out below. We're going to start by prepping all of the ingredients for the recipes in advance so that cooking takes only 15 minutes each night. You could in theory just cook all of these recipes in one day and then eat the leftovers throughout the week, but I like the process of cooking each night and eating things fresh. I just find the routine so comforting, and I also hate spending 3 or 4 hours cooking and making a big mess on a Sunday, so I'm all for ingredient prep where you also minimize the cleanup. So the first thing I do is take a look at each recipe and then make a prep ahead checklist. I sort it into grains, proteins, sauces, and veggies. There are no grains that we need to prep for these recipes, such as rice or quinoa for this particular meal plan, so we can move right into the proteins. First, you're going to cook 1 chicken breast in a pot of boiling water on the stove for 15 minutes, then shred it with a fork for the portobello mushrooms. Meanwhile, you'll defrost and peel half a pound of shrimp for the pasta primavera. You can use the other half pound for a different recipe. With the proteins out of the way, you can start on the sauces. I like to start with mincing garlic as you normally need it for marinades. I'll be mincing the garlic needed for this entire week's worth of recipes, just so that I don't have to dirty the garlic press twice. So for this week's menu, you'll mince 5 cloves of garlic. 2 will be for the Kalbi beef taco marinade and 2 will be for the pasta primavera. The remaining clove will be for the stuffed portobello mushrooms. Now you can make the marinade for the steak by mixing together 1 tablespoon of sesame oil with 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, half a tablespoon of adobo sauce from a can of chipotles, half a tablespoon of sriracha, your 2 cloves of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of fresh squeezed orange juice, half a teaspoon of lime juice, and half a teaspoon of dried ginger. You can freeze the rest of your chipotles in adobo or keep the can in the fridge for up to a week. You'll marinate the steak for 15 minutes before cooking it the night of, so you can store your marinade in a small glass container with a lid in the fridge. After that, you'll grate 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan cheese for the pasta primavera. Now it's time to move on to the veggie prep. Slice 2 green onions for the pot sticker bowls, then mix half a bag of coleslaw in a large bowl with 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of sunflower oil, half a teaspoon of orange zest, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper to make the citrus slaw for the Kalbi beef tacos. Then you'll slice up 1 red onion, reserving half for the pickled red onions used in the tacos, then dicing the other half for the pasta primavera. Then you can make the pickled red onions for the tacos by taking half of your sliced red onions and adding them to a mesh sieve. Pour some boiling water over top of them to kind of pre-cook them, and mix them in a mason jar with 1/3 cup of vinegar, 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. These onions will last in the fridge for up to a couple weeks, so feel free to double the recipe to use as a condiment for future meals. Now cut up half a head of broccoli florets for the pasta primavera and store them in a bowl with a lid. Normally what I do is buy a small crown of broccoli instead of a whole bunch so that you can cut the amount in half without the waste. Then you'll zest half a lemon for the pasta primavera and store that in a small bowl. Finally, dice 1/4 of a red pepper and 1/4 of a red onion for the stuffed mushrooms. You can use the leftovers for other recipes or snacks throughout the week. Chop up 2 tablespoons of parsley for the mushroom filling as well. Then you can actually make the filling for the mushrooms by mixing together your shredded chicken, diced red pepper and onion, the parsley, 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs, your 1 clove of minced garlic, 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and pepper, and 1/4 cup of pre-shredded cheddar cheese. All you have to do the night of is scrape out the mushrooms, add some stuffing, some extra cheese, and then bake them. You'll notice the recipe calls for 1 egg, but it's kind of tricky and wasteful to split an egg, and you don't really need it, so we are leaving it out for the sake of simplicity. And there you have your prep done for the week. I know it seems like a lot of steps and it will take some practice at first, but once you have all the prep going in the right order, it comes together super fast, and the only dishes you have are your knife, cutting board, 1 pot from cooking the chicken, and the mesh sieve from the onions. This is way less work than making all of these recipes ahead of time at once, and you will only have to cook for about 15 or 20 minutes each night because everything is half assembled. And the best part is that you don't have to convince yourself to eat leftovers every single day as with traditional meal prep. Now that the prep is done, I'll show you how easy it is to make all of the recipes. We'll start with the stuffed portobello mushrooms. First, you'll preheat the oven to 375 degrees. Wash, destem, and then scrape out 2 portobello mushrooms, reserving the mushroom gills but disposing of the stems. Mix the mushroom gills in with the stuffing you prepped over the weekend, then add the mushrooms to a parchment-lined baking sheet. Stuff your mushrooms with your stuffing, then add some more cheddar cheese over top and bake them for 20 minutes until the cheese is melted. And that's it! This is the most delicious and easy dinner idea ever, and the leftovers reheat so well for lunch the next day. You're gonna love them. Okay, on to recipe number 2, which are these amazing pot sticker bowls. First up, you're going to take out your prepped green onions and assemble your other ingredients. There was barely any prep for this recipe because it all comes together so quickly. Get out some sesame oil, then cut your pound of ground chicken in half, storing the other half in the freezer for a future recipe. You'll also get out your 2 cups of sliced mushrooms. I buy mine pre-sliced at the grocery store to save time on prep. Then your half bag of coleslaw along with some soy sauce, sesame seeds, and chili garlic sauce. Now you're ready to cook. Heat half a tablespoon of sesame oil in a large frying pan over medium-high heat. Add your mushrooms, sauteing for 3 to 4 minutes until liquid starts to release. Then add your half pound of ground chicken, followed by 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, breaking up the meat with a spoon as it cooks. You'll cook for about 5 to 6 minutes until brown, then stir in your half bag of coleslaw, stir frying another couple of minutes until it wilts. Remove the skillet from the heat, then stir in your prepped green onions, half a tablespoon of sesame seeds, and 1 teaspoon of chili garlic sauce, mixing well to combine, and there's dinner and lunch for the next day. You've got an easy peasy 15-minute meal with barely any prep. Now for recipe number 3. Next we'll be making the Kalbi beef tacos. First, add half a pound of sirloin steak to the marinade you prepped earlier in the week. I like to marinate in a bowl or in a silicone freezer bag for 15 minutes, so get out your other ingredients in the meantime, like your pickled red onions and citrus slaw. You can also take out some pickled jalapenos and sesame seeds if serving, and chop up a bit of fresh cilantro if you'd like it for garnish. Finally, take out 6 corn tortillas. Now you're ready to cook. Heat a little bit of olive oil in a large skillet over medium-high heat, then add your steak. Depending on the thickness of your steak, you'll be cooking it for 2 to 3 minutes each side. While the steak is cooking, you can microwave your corn tortillas for a few seconds or char them over an open flame if you're lucky enough to have a barbecue or a gas stove. When your steak is done, add it to a cutting board and let it sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes before slicing it all up. Add your coleslaw, sliced steak, pickled red onions, jalapenos, cilantro, and sesame seeds to your corn tortillas, then serve and enjoy. Another delicious lunch and dinner. These tacos require a bit more marinating and resting time, which will add to the cook time of this particular meal, but it's hands-off passive time and you've done most of the work over the weekend, so it's still a delicious and easy weeknight option. Now onto our final recipe, which is this amazing shrimp pasta primavera. First up, you're going to heat a large pot of water over high heat until boiling, then add half a pound of pasta and cook for 8 to 10 minutes until al dente. I like to use this handy tool to measure out 2 servings of spaghetti to make my life easier. I've linked to this tool in the description of this video in case you want to check it out. Before draining, reserve 2 tablespoons of the pasta water to add to your sauce. In the meantime, you can get out your prepped ingredients. Take the shrimp, garlic, onions, broccoli, Parmesan cheese, and lemon zest out of the fridge. Then you can get out some butter, salt and pepper, chili flakes, flour, lemon juice, milk, sun-dried tomato, and frozen peas. When the pasta is done cooking and drained, add 1 tablespoon of butter to the empty pan, melting over medium-high heat. Then add in your minced garlic and diced red onion, sauteing for 30 seconds until fragrant. Add the half pound of defrosted peeled shrimp along with your half head of broccoli florets and your lemon zest. Season with salt and pepper and a pinch of red chili flakes, cooking until the shrimp starts to turn pink. Then you'll add in half a tablespoon of flour, stirring well to combine, then half a tablespoon of lemon juice, 1/4 cup of milk, your 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 1/4 cup of sun-dried tomatoes, and 1/4 cup of frozen peas, cooking for a few minutes until the sauce starts to thicken. Add your pasta back to the pot along with your reserved pasta water, then cook on high for 2 minutes, tossing well to combine. And then you're ready to serve and enjoy. I know it seems like a lot of steps, but I promise it all comes together super quickly in about 20 minutes by the time you cook the pasta. And there you have it. I've showed you how to take 4 standard recipes and turn them all into the perfect serving size for one person by cutting them in half. You still get all of the variety, but none of the food waste because a lot of the ingredients overlap and you're either using up almost all of your ingredients or you're freezing the others for future meals. I hope that these tips and tricks have helped you get a better idea of how you can cook on a budget for one and even meal prep in advance without spending several hours in the kitchen on a Sunday. Don't forget to click on over to see the full prep ahead checklist and grocery list so that you can replicate this menu for yourself and see the power of ingredient prep. I promise it'll help you reduce so much stress and eat delicious food all week long without wasting a thing. Okay, you've seen my ultimate secret to cooking for one. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more meal prep resources from me, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and please send this video to a friend who needs to learn how to cook for one. Who knows, it could be a real game changer for somebody that you know. I hope that you enjoyed this cooking for one tutorial. Thanks for hanging out with me in my kitchen today, and I will see you in the next video.